I'm Brad, welcome to DIY Wouldn't You. In this video, I'm going to show you how we created this flowing lava epoxy tiki bar top. That wasn't a mouthful, I don't know what is. Stay tuned. To give you a little background, Mike recently retired, and so this is his retirement project, is building this sweet tiki bar. So he's got two elm live edge slabs that he's turned into the bar top here. It's about 10.5 feet long, 42 inches on average wide, and then the river in the center is average 9 inches wide by about 2 inches deep. We want this to actually look like it's lava flowing through the table, and so what Mike has done is he's got the slabs prepped. They're leveled, he's got them sanded down. As you can see, the edge here on the bottom, he's used a rabbet bit and routed out, and he's recessed LED lights in there. He's got them in plastic tubes. However, the plastic tubes kind of want to pull out, and so what we've done is gone along, shot some nails along the edge, and then bent them over to hold the tube in place and tucked them under the live edge so that you won't actually see them once the pour is done. And he has poured a base coat in the center here with a black mica powder and a tabletop epoxy that sets up quickly, and then he's done a seal coat on the live edge of the wood. And so from here, what we're going to do is pour a thin coat of a red base over top of the black to hide those brad nails and to cover the lights themselves, and then we're going to let that set up for a little while and get tacky. Then we'll come back and do another pour of a copper orange, maybe a little bit of red on top to give it that lava depth, and then come back on top of that and do just a clear coat so that you see the actual black edge and it gives it some good depth. Kind of look like a burnt edge here, which is what Mike's going for. And then pull all the tape, plastic, and the beer cartons off, and then Mike's going to stain the slabs. We'll go back and do a glaze coat over the whole top to seal the whole thing, lock it in, and protect it. So stay tuned, this is going to be fun. And we're mixing a 2-to-1 mixture, 2 parts part A, 1 part part B, and we need 2.6 gallons. So when you do the breakdown, it ends up being 0.9 of part B and then 1.8 of part A. So we're just going to do 1 full jug of part B and then 1.8 part A. All right, we're using a scarlet red and a ruby red glitter for the red base coat, and actually a burgundy as well. And we're going to do equal parts of all 3 of these to get a solid tone.
Oh, hey, what's going on? Listen, I understand that the camera angles are pretty awful and you can't actually see what's going on. The way that this tiki bar sits and the way that the sunlight hits it, it's pretty much impossible to get any sort of decent shots. I did get some, just not while I was actually working, so just put up with me for a minute and we'll deal with that. If you're new to the channel, why don't you go ahead and subscribe? I would really love that. I'd appreciate it. I'm trying to get the channel to grow, and so that would help me substantially. If you've been here for a while, I don't really know why. Thanks for putting up with me, though. You're thinking, Brad, this seems like an awful extensive epoxy project for a first epoxy video. Yeah, you'd be absolutely right. I wouldn't start out with a project like this, but I've been doing some epoxy for a while now, and I just want to go ahead and get this video edited and out. Here's another epoxy table that I did. This one turned out pretty awesome, so I'm hoping to get this video edited and out pretty soon. Listen, here at DIY Wouldn't You, we want to inspire and educate. We want to make projects entertaining and encourage you to try something fun, learn something new, and impress yourself and your friends. We want to remind you that just because you haven't done something, it doesn't mean you can't. So keep learning, keep building, keep DIYing. Anyway, see ya. Next, we're going to go over the entire pour with the torch to pull out any bubbles from the chemical reaction between the part A and the part B of the epoxy resin, as well as any air that's released from the wood or any little crevices under the wood. We're going to do this a handful of times before we just leave the pour to set. It seems like every project that I do I learn something. This one is no different. Now this
Whole setup here is outside. It's mid-90s here in North Carolina right now, and so we poured this first layer here on Friday. This is a deep pour, and today is the following Monday. So theoretically, this should not be as hard as it is. However, what happened was we poured this on Friday morning. We had a fan blowing on it to keep it cool, which was a great thing. At the end of the day Friday, I headed home and we took the fan off of it and covered it up with insulation boards to keep bugs and anything like that out of it. That was our mistake because it made the epoxy here cure faster than it should have. And so when Mike came back to put a nice swirl in this at 8 o'clock that evening, it was too late and this was already set up tacky enough that that wasn't possible. So had we left the fan blowing on it and keeping it cool, he would have been able to go back and swirl that, I believe. But putting the insulation boards on here, it locked the heat in and made the cure time a lot faster than we were hoping for. So our goal for today is to get the next layer poured. We're going to use a tabletop epoxy for this layer, and we're going to do a copper orange and a red kind of swirled to give it a lava look. We're going to use the tabletop because it's going to give us the capability to swirl those colors together and them not mesh very well. And also it'll give us faster setup time so that the next layer can be poured. So that's going to be about 3/8 deep. That was a little bit on the stressful side, but we took our time, went slowly, poured the red and the orange first, and then let it sit for a minute, started swirling it, and then went back and added our accent color of that bright yellow. And I think that that gives us just the look that we wanted. I never miss that fact. Taking big swings, bitch, hand me the bat. Put me in the ring, you'll go out in a bag. Cause I sing what I mean and I bring it to the mad light. Ain't got time to kill, I got time to feel. I took the red. It's now 11 a.m. This first pour we did at 9 a.m. So it's been sitting for 2 hours. The heat is such that the setup was fairly quick on this. We've got a fan blowing on it, but it's about 95 degrees out here. We're comfortable enough that we're getting ready to go ahead and do the next pour on top of this, which we're going to be using a deep pour, 2 parts A, 1 part B, and they come in a 3-gallon kit. So we need about 4 gallons to fill up this last inch, but we've mixed 1 full 3-gallon kit. We'll pour it in here, let it settle, and then see how much more we need. The nice thing is that we don't have to swirl this. So just release the bubbles and then let it cure. We poured that 3 gallons. The top is just out of level enough that I think that that's actually going to be good for this pour. And then the final flood coat pour will run on over and coat the rest of the countertop. It's looking really good. Those colors accent each other nicely. It's got the depth that he wants. The black edge makes it look really nice. And pretty happy with how this project is turning out. I was a little bit nervous about mixing the colors together and trying to get it to look like lava, but I think we're pulling off what Mike wants in this lava table. So I'm thrilled. We are about to get this bar top wrapped up. We did the face pour, we did the color pour on top of that, the clear pour over that about 1 inch thick, and now we are on to the top coat. Now, while I was gone, Mike went ahead and did a coat on the edge all the way around, as you can see right here. He just took a black sponge brush and brushed, that's about 5 coats right there. It's hard to do on a vertical surface, but he did a great job. The black sponge brush was the ticket to make that look like we wanted it to. We're on to the top pour now. This is the flood coat, and this is going to be, I believe, a 2-pour coat. We're going to try to do them both in one day. We're using tabletop epoxy for this, and so first we're going to go along. There's a couple of imperfections, bugs here and there, some bubbles, so we'll get those out. Our first pour will be enough to fill the rest of this gap and then flood over onto the top, and then the second one will be a nice level coat over the whole thing.
As far as difficulty level on this project right here, I don't even know that I would want to do another one necessarily. But hey, if you got the time and the money and well, this video to reference, then, well, you should be just fine.
Right as fuel got me hazy, about to unpack all these things I've been chasing. I've got visions in my head, like memories I forget. To be a legend instead of something you can forget. I'm living up every breath, I'd rather lead than be led. I'll fill the seats as I spread, with every word that I've said. How's it supposed to feel?
This was a 2-gallon pour for this first pour here. The lava river valley, whatever you want to call it itself, is still a little bit low. I think 2 gallons may have been a little bit shy of what we needed to cover it solid, but that's okay. The setup time on this stuff is quick, but we had enough that we were able to work it out pretty nicely. So I'm going to go over it with the torch real quick, and then we'll just make sure there's nothing else that needs to be combed through again with the trowel. Learning moment, where there were some bubbles that were persistent. I noticed that there was something funky about that spot, and I'm guessing it was something with the mixture, a thick spot, maybe an extra hardener that didn't get mixed in well. But that set up so quickly that it was almost gummy, and the rest of it's still kind of fluid. So what I did to fix this problem was I actually dug this bad part out with a pocket knife, and then ended up just filling it back in with our second pour, and you can't even really notice that it's there. That looks pretty much like glass. There are a couple little bubbles here and there, but overall that second pour filled and leveled everything very nice. So the river is now level with the rest of everything, which is what we want. Next we untaped the edge and taped the top so that we could sand any excess on the ground over and on the sides. This literally took hours. Well, here's the finished product. I'm pumped with how this turned out. The homeowner is thrilled with the look of this. This ended up taking a total of 4 trips for me out here to do the lava pour and to finish out the rest of this bar top. This place is 2 hours from my house, and so that was some time invested, but with this result, it was worth the time spent. So if you guys enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more fun projects that we're working on, subscribe to the channel. We'd love to see you back. If you want to be the first to know when we post another video, hit the notification bell. I'm Brad. This is DIY Review. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
Is it leaking?
Yep, pouring out.
Use a little bit of silicone here.
Man, that looks awesome.